Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly. And got a good one for you today. I'm at Seal Beach Pier, which was damaged during the last storm. And they've been fixing it for the last couple weeks. A bunch of people wrote me and said, go out there and take a look at it. And there's not much to see because they're not having the boats dock. And they had the fishermen that would come out and the Coast Guard would drop workers off here. It's kind of a busy pier, but that's not happening right now with the construction. And I walked out and the wind was awful coming this direction, so you guys get it in this direction, but look at my hair, look at it just blowing behind me. So so much to cover today, which is craziness, okay, around the globe, especially here in California. But please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Today we have a sponsor, Patriot Gold, which I will talk about a little bit later. But first things first, I have had a post office box since 1985, Tustin, okay, nice city, safe, beautiful. 2 nights ago, I go to the post office about 9 o'clock at night because I usually go there late, and there's a note in the door, and here's the note. The note says, hey, because of vandalism, when the last employee leaves, we're locking the post office from now on. I didn't think much about it. I'm thinking, well, how late have I been there? Well, I've been at this post office to where I've been in there at 11 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning one time, through the decades of having my post office box there. So today I had to mail a bunch of registered mail and things like that. And like, hey, what's going on with up front and why was it locked? And last night went to an Angel game, and after the Angel game, drove by, and at 9:30 the place was locked up solid. And what had happened last week was people went in with crowbars and just pried open the mailboxes at night and stole mail out of everything. And she's like, what bay are you in? I'm in 560s. She's like, okay, you're lucky because that whole area got hit. There's only a couple mailboxes that didn't get the mail, ripped off. And I was one of the people that didn't get their mail stolen. So, guys, nothing is safe right now. Even the post office is not safe right now to keep your mail in. So, one thing that they were telling me is they're having nothing but problems with people stealing mail out of people's mailboxes, following the mail carriers, robbing the mail carriers, and so much so in California that they're going from city to city that they're worried about what they're going to do and how they're going to have the mail carriers be safe. Look at how mess my hair is right now. So, this is serious, guys, because, you want to go out and you want to be able to, have your mail. I don't want to go into my house, okay, for certain things. And, it's crazy. But they're going out and they're stealing mail directly out of the mailboxes right now. Isn't that unbelievable? So, it's happening everywhere. So, made a quick little video to show you guys what the place looks like now that they cleaned it up. And again, I'll go every few days, which is probably not the right way to do it. Just like you should come here every day and get your mail out of the mailbox now. Like, wow. So, once again, 1985, I've had my mail there and never had a problem, ever. Now, have there been the occasional homeless person sleeping in there? Yes. Do I disturb them? No. It's tragic that they have to do that. But that's what's happening. Now, think about this. Last week, May 31st, SB 533 here in California got passed. There's a law now in California, and it's not law yet, but they passed it in the Assembly 29-6 right now. Think about that. 6 people voted against this. The rest of them voted for it. And this is a law that says that you cannot confront shoplifters if you work in a retail establishment. Why would anybody work in a retail establishment? Think about it. People are stealing and you can't confront them right now. How insane is this right now? What backwards world is California living in right now that you cannot confront the thieves? Now, here in California, if you steal $950, they can prosecute you. If it's $949, they can't prosecute you for shoplifting right now. So there are some thieves that literally total things up and then steal it, okay? And don't get prosecuted. There are people that get arrested, they get a ticket, they go out and do it again. This happens time and again all over the place. But imagine a world where you don't, confront the shoplifters. Now, here's the worst part about this bill, and the bill's below and you can read it. This does nothing for workplace violence. It doesn't protect employees against workplace violence. So there's no laws against this stuff. People are beat up at their jobs. Clerks are beat up. Mail carriers are beat up, and there's no laws for that. But you've got to protect the criminals right now. Is this crazy? It's just absolutely backwards and completely upside down with all this stuff. So let me know what you guys think about this, but I've gotten so many. We talked about Philadelphia. This is what started this whole mail carrier thing, and then Seattle, and then different pockets of it. But to experience this myself, and again, the mail that was in there that day was bills and some fan mail, and Jesse had sent me some stories that he sends me. And again, I appreciate all the mail that you guys send me, but I have to go there every day now, so I'm going to get it and get it sooner and respond sooner, with things like that. But man, oh man, is that crazy? It's terrible. And now you're going to have a law that if you see a shoplifter, you're not allowed to confront the shoplifter. What are we coming to? Why don't we just have lawlessness and anarchy and the purge 365 days a year? Seriously, why not have that? Because that's what we're coming to right now. Let's talk about our sponsor, Patriot Gold Group. In the last week with the debt ceiling debacle, Ray Dalio made such a great point, and it was giving people just a raised credit limit without any responsibility is going to destroy this country. And you have to protect yourself. You have to look at what Bloomberg just said, and they said we're about to enter an economic storm. You need to protect yourself by getting yourself an IRA or 401k that's backed by physical metals. The best place to do that is Patriot Gold Group. Call them today, 888-330-1431 before it's too late. Get yourself a free investor guide. Find out how you can protect yourself and get your family into safe haven investments with gold and silver. Call them today. Use the link below. It's absolutely no obligation. Let them know that I allegedly sent you. But look at what Bank of America says. Look at what JP Morgan says. We're about to enter a commodity super cycle, and you could see gold hit $3,000 an ounce. You don't want to miss this. Call them today, 888-330-1431 before it's too late. Google is having some problems of their own. They're having problems with people that are going back to the office right now. People don't want to go back to the office. Now, here's the thing. A bunch of articles were sent to me about this, and I started reading them, and I'm not making this up. Fiona Ciccone, spelled a little different than Madonna Ciccone, but anyways, Fiona Ciccone. She is the chief people officer of Google. Chief people officer. You can't make that up. That's her position. She probably makes $300,000 a year at that position. But anyways, she says we need to have people come back into the office, and we need to have working meetings where people are together, and we're going to have badge attendance done. So your badge is going to be your attendance for work, and they're going to insist that you come and work at Google and have badge attendance, and that they're going to have mandatory meetings 3 days a week now for people. So you don't show up, you don't get paid. Remember back in the day, somebody sent me such a great article. Hey, Dan, remember when you didn't show up for work and they would fire you? Yeah. Now, there are jobs that are remote jobs. I get it. There are things that I'm doing right now that I would never want to have employees for. And employees can create a real headache. But if you have a team and you have the team concept, there are just some things that just don't work via Zoom. I'm telling you guys, they just don't. Now, I know people have a lot of freedom. They're happy. They don't have to deal with, the commute, paying for lunch, all that stuff. And, Google's changed a lot of things. But one thing that Solar City did when I worked there is they wanted to be Google-esque, where they gave us free food and stuff. It was crazy. It had a full kitchen, had people, I want a sandwich today. And I want you to bake the bread on one side and not on the other. And I want the cheese melted on half of it. And I want ham bacon, and turkey, and then leave the other side, kind of wet. Okay, they would make it for you like that. Okay, kind of crazy. Well, I'm sure Google has that stuff, but they've dropped a lot of the perks over at Google, like the masseuse and things like that, and the juice bars and things like that. People have to actually work, so it's kind of a bummer showing up there. You don't get all the free, stuff for these people. So kind of interesting. So they're insisting that they're going to get people back there. You remember the talk about how GM is going to join Ford and have join the $200 adapter that's going to make it so that they can charge at the Tesla charging stations. Think about this number. Elon Musk and Tesla, by doing this, they're going to net at least a minimum of $3 billion a year. $3 billion a year. The guy's a genius. It's the smartest thing ever. So regardless of what happens, if GM and Ford fail, that's what they're going to make. He's going to make $3 billion a year by having these charging stations with those adapters. So the guy's going to make an absolute bloody killing with this. So share your thoughts on this. I had to walk away from the pier because it was so windy down there. So plus my hair was a total mess down there. But kind of a quaint little town here, Seal Beach. This is the downtown area. They've got these little parks that meander through this area. Kind of nice. I'll walk over to one of them for you. I'm across the street and they have these train cars parked in certain areas. Remember when you were a kid, this would be like oh my gosh, it was the coolest thing, going to see the train. It was just great. Train tracks, hanging out. I wanted to be a hobo so bad. Sort of one of my brothers. Just thought it was great. He'd be a hobo every year at Christmas, Just thought the hobo life was the coolest thing ever. So there was a self-driving accident for a taxi in the UK. And the interesting thing about this is that these accidents are tripling. They're happening around the world more and more often with these driverless cars. And this one was blamed on a dog. A dog had ran in front of the car. And when you read the story, it's pretty fascinating because the dog's trajectory, path, and speed was unavoidable. Well, what else is going to be unavoidable? Small child running out in front of one of these self-driving cars. And the worst part about this, the Jaguar taxi, which I've never, ever sat in my life, a Jaguar taxi, which I'd like to sit in one day instead of the smelly taxis I've been inside of. But the Jaguar taxi was had a driver that was there but couldn't react fast enough, so the accident took place and it was unavoidable. Yeah, okay, I'm telling you guys, they're going to take out people and that's going to be unavoidable at some point. So isn't that nice? It's locked up. I can see there's a lock on the door. I'd go there and we'd play the hobo life for an hour. Okay, now here's the other thing. It's like a little train conductor office here. That right there on your property, if that had a bathroom there, you know how many people could live in that? That would be the greatest thing for the homeless. Seriously, that's what you need to build. Instead, LA County builds these apartments that are $800,000 and can't figure out why nobody wants to live there. I'm telling you, you're homeless, 2 people could live in that right there with a bathroom. Yeah. You'd need a good sports package for cable and, good internet too. I just added that. But share your thoughts on this stuff, guys. Would you go in a driverless taxi? My favorite is the helicopters that are driverless right now, or pilotless, excuse me. Pilotless helicopters. Look how big this thing is. It's smile. I'm telling you, when I get a house with a big enough property that I could throw 4 or 5 of these on there, and then we just have weekends where friends come over and we study and hang out and read. Okay? Nothing. Share your thoughts on that. With this economy, people are absolutely strapped right now. And people are borrowing more money than ever just to get by. And we've heard the figures about credit card debt. And the worst part about this is that it's up. It's up a huge percentage in 2023, almost another 12% that people are borrowing just to get by. And they're not buying anything. They're just using the credit card debt to pay bills and to get by. Now, I found a great stat, and by the way, it's really approaching $1 trillion in debt with just credit cards. And if you think this is going to get paid off, there's no way. You're going to see more people stiff the banks and more bankruptcies, because bankruptcies are growing at an exponential rate where they're going up at almost 18% a month right now with businesses. And for personal bankruptcies, they're going through the roof right now. But at almost $1 trillion, there's a great article I found that shows you what the average credit card amount is that people owe right now. And what's fascinating is the highest amount, and it's gone up about 15% since 2019, and it's $7,900 is what the average person owes right now that's between 40 and 50 years old. That's the biggest group. It's crazy. So if you owe more than that, then you're, below average. If you owe less than that, then you're doing better than the average bear. But look at the article. It's a CNBC article. It's kind of nice. The other CNBC article is people are sick of tipping. People are sick of, being forced to tip. And, this tip shaming that we've been forced to, and, hey, it's just mandatory when you go out and you buy a coffee and they slide that thing around. And people are getting more and more sick of it because, let's face it, things are more and more expensive than ever. People have less money right now than they do disposable income to go buy things. And, I've had a few meetings at restaurants in the last few weeks, and I sit down and I look at the prices of like wine and beer and drinks and things like that. And I'm thinking, wow, this is just getting out of control. And, when you have not a real high-end restaurant, but a glass of wine is $19 for a glass of wine. How do people afford that? Seriously, how do you swing that with your life? And then, when coffee is $7, $8 for a cup of coffee, and I went and got a lunch special yesterday at Chinese food that I always like, and price is always the same because I know what it is, and it was up by $2, and I'm like, what did I order? Well, I didn't order anything. No, but now the iced tea is now $5 for an iced tea. So that's crazy. But people want to be tipped all the time. And people are starting to stand up for it and say, no, we're not going to tip. And people are starting to say things like, I'm not tipping you because you asked for it, I'm not tipping you. So, share your thoughts on this stuff. Are you against it? But read the article too, because it's fascinating, because people are fed up. I am telling you, saving money is going to be the future. Ways to save money is the future. If you have discount shopping tips, things like that you can share with people, that is what is going to be great right now. So share your thoughts on this stuff. Let me know what you're thinking about this. I get stories sent to me that I'm like, wow, if you moved from New York City to Florida and you made $150,000 a year, in lifestyle changes, rent being cheaper, your taxes, utilities, you would save $50,000. But a high-end individual will easily save $200,000 moving from places like Chicago, New York, and these other high-end cities like that where taxes are out of control. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a substantial amount of money. The article below talks about it being $200,000 in savings if someone makes $500,000 a year, because everything's cheaper in New York. Everything's cheaper in Miami compared to New York. Isn't that wild? Absolutely crazy. In the UK, they have something called the Financial Conduct Authority, and they're cracking down on cryptocurrency advertising, and they're going to change the way that people advertise crypto. And it's one step towards regulatory measures that they just don't have there. And they're saying that's going to come here. So people that I know that invest in crypto want to see some type of regulatory action. The rogue people that buy and sell and use wallets that aren't connected to an exchange, those people could care less. But it's going to be interesting to see how this advertising is done. And is it considered a security? Is it a stock? Is it something that you can hype and get people to buy and promote and dump and make a lot of money. And should people pay the price for that? Kim Kardashian did, Logan Paul did, Jake Paul, all those people have done this time and again. So share your thoughts on that stuff if you think that's something that we should be concerned about. Macy's is trying to limit their inventory at their stores, and they're saying the same store sales are off 4.5%. And one thing that Macy's said was that they didn't do things right this year, and they have a real problem because they didn't anticipate that we'd have a longer winter in the West. So, for example, here it rained, it just stopped raining last month, and they put out short sleeve shirts and summer wear and shorts and things like that, and they just didn't sell. But Macy's has a tremendous amount of inventory. And again, guys, do you think that these people are going to stay open? Do you think Macy's is going to be around 2 years from now? I just think they're going to be Bed Bath & Beyond. You're going to see a real problem where these places are going to be out of business. So let me know what you think about that. I think it's just a matter of time. And the final story, Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart is selling his LA house. It's 36,000 square feet for $60 million. And he is saying, hey, I want to move back to England. And he's tired of, life in LA. He also wants to consolidate his life because he's surprised at how many of his friends his age, the guy's in his 70s now, are passing away. And it's, just these immortal rockers are not going to last forever. So, it's starting to hit him. I got to see him 3 weeks ago perform. He was great show, fantastic, fun, and really great to see him. But, it's amazing to see a guy like that age that was doing that well and tired, wants to make a change. And the next one, final and a half story, is Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston's going to be 70 in 2 years, and he says enough is enough. I want to sell my half of my tequila company. He owns, I think it's Dos Hombres, his tequila company, but there's an article below talking about how he wants to change his life and relax and retire, maybe go to France or another country with his wife, because his wife, as he said, was chasing his tail for the last 25 years with his career, and he wants to do nothing and consolidate. I'm telling you guys, the older I get, the more I think about, I had this conversation today with my agent of all people, and what does retirement look like for you? And I don't see myself doing nothing, and I'm too young to retire right now. But don't you see a life? Don't you want your life easier? And I went to the baseball game this week with a friend of mine who is retired. He's got a pension and he makes a ton of money. He worked 38 years at his job, and I'm like, wow. Okay, guy started when he was 20 years old at his job and retired at 58. Put the time in, kept socking money away, and now he's like, I just want to do nothing right now. I want to take 6 months and decide what I want to do with the rest of my life. I may get a job, may do something part-time, but what does that look like for you guys right now? I have so many people out there that are successful that look at making changes. And, when you have someone pass in your life that means a lot to you, it puts things into perspective. It's put it into perspective for my children on how, as they, become adults and as they look at their careers, how they don't want to do anything that's not going to make them happy. And, my girlfriend was a law professor and loved the law, was absolutely brilliant at it. And that's all she wants to do. That's all she ever wanted to do was that. And she was incredibly good at it. But I also taught my kids that you need to have something that's going to make you happy, or it's not worth doing for 10 minutes. So share your thoughts on all this stuff, guys. Kind of a mishmash today because I was down here. But hope you're well. A lot more to follow in the weekend and the coming week. But if you want to get a hold of me, hello at iAllegedly. And we'll have the winners listed soon for Christmas in May.